Hello, everybody, and welcome in to Blue Jays Today, folks. We made it. We're there. A World Series champion has been crowned, and now we get to talk about the off-season free agents, trades, winter meetings, moves, the draft lottery. All of that is going to be on the way in the next couple months, and I couldn't be more excited because, as you folks know, I mean, we've just kind of been sitting here and waiting for something to happen with the Toronto Blue Jays, and now things should start to go. Dominoes will start to fall. We're going to talk about what the Toronto Blue Jays could be doing very soon because free agency opens up on Monday.
That's
Monday,
right.
I believe.
Technically, they are free agents right now. We could sign back Ryan Yarbrough tonight.
Yes, yeah. We have the opportunity to sign back anybody who was on our team this past year and is going to be in a free agent this following season. However, you're looking at Juan Soto, you're looking at Santander. Those guys on Monday. We are also going to be talking about one of those guys in particular, Juan Soto. And my God, what I would give my left nut to be that man right now because the amount of money that he is going to make, it probably will break records is currently the conversation that's going on right now. So we're going to get into all of that and more. Hit the like, smash the subscribe button. Welcome in.
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. I'm your host, Adam Peddle. Welcome in, Laura Lee Z, Miami. Guys, it is the free agency offseason. I'm going to be coming out with a video room tomorrow, kind of breaking down all the details of the offseason, the dates that you want to be looking out for. So if you really want just to know when are things happening, be on the lookout for that tomorrow at 11 a.m., guys. But today, we're going to be talking about the news that has been coming out. Some other moves as well, too, that have happening around the league that are kind of important because maybe this opens up some more doors for the Toronto Blue Jays as well and other options this offseason that we didn't see until what happened recently. So, but first things first, you see the title here on the podcast and the YouTube live stream. Juan Soto's shocking asking price and upcoming Blue Jays move. So let's start with that Juan Soto shocking asking price. So, John Heyman, this is a literal dude. He said that Shohei Ohtani going to LA is good for baseball, or in other words, him going anywhere else would be bad for baseball. He came out with an article on the New York Post, and he's got some insider information. Apparently, right now, everybody, Juan Soto's eyeing a historic $700 million MLB free agent contract. That is apparently what he says the magic number to get Juan Soto on your team. Because here's the reality, everybody. There's a lot of people wanting Juan Soto right now. This is ridiculous. 8 rival teams checked in with interest, and by Thursday morning yesterday, it was up to 11 after the World Series. That's crazy. And that 8 was 2 hours after the World Series ended. Could you imagine being Juan Soto's agency, and as soon as the World Series game's over, bring, 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 you're getting phone calls asking about, hey, what's the price on Juan Soto? What are we talking about? You have got to be seeing dollar signs in your eyes if you're Juan Soto and his agency. What do you think? What do you make of this? That $700 million for Juan Soto? Yeah. He's not Shohei Ohtani, but he might make Shohei Ohtani money.
I mean, the number's just been going up and up and up, right? I think walking into this season, a lot of people were talking about that $500 million mark, and they were saying, maybe this could be the first position player that gets over that other than Shohei Ohtani because he is a unicorn. And then the season was going on, and it was like, oh shit, Juan Soto looks really damn good in pinstripes right now. Maybe we could even see somebody go as crazy as to get to $600 million. And that was for a little while, kind of, blasphemous and ridiculous, and everyone was like, oh my goodness, how could this be? And it feels like we've just all kind of accepted that $600 million is going to be a given at this point. And now you're starting to see that number go up even more to $700 million. Now, do I think that Juan Soto can provide as much as Shohei Ohtani? I know he can't because he can't pitch. He just is never going to have that in his bag. However, he does play some pretty decent defense out there, and you're going to have him for, 5 to maybe 6 to 7 more years than you would have a Shohei Ohtani because he is 26 years old right now. So when it's all said and done, you're looking at a guy who is probably going to go to the Hall of Fame, and that's a wild 100%. Thing to say when he's 26 years old right now. But very well on the pathway to becoming a top 5 maybe baseball player of all time if he keeps doing what he's doing. For the next 15 years or whatever. So yeah, I mean now this number, as outlandish as it sounds, is starting to be getting, I guess, a little bit more grounded, if you will.
I mean, let's look at it right now. I wanted to find out who were the highest paid players right now. So Juan Soto being 26 years old, a nice staple round number to get him to is 14. You bring him to his age 40 season.
That would make sense.
That would make a lot of sense. You get him for his entire career. I just did the math. You go 700 million divided by 14 is a nice 50. So that's average annual value. You look at some other players with that average annual value, just position player wise, was Aaron Judge 2 years ago. He got $40 million.
Yeah.
Anthony Rendon got $38 million. So you could see that the next best position player available is Juan Soto. Arguably, you could say Juan Soto is an all-round better hitter than Aaron Judge. That's crazy because Aaron Judge is better power hitter, definitely better power hitter, but on base capabilities, contact, and power is Juan Soto, and way younger than Aaron Judge. So him getting 45 or even 50 million per year isn't actually that crazy when you think about it, right?
Well, yeah. On the flip side of things, $700 million to commit to one guy is wild. Right?
It is wild.
And the fact that we're going into that right now is kind of nuts. 3-point James here with a $2 dono saying Soto has power, low-hanging fruit we need.
Bro.
I completely agree with you, right? I mean, like, Juan Soto, as Smooth Brown Man puts it right here, is the best pure hitter in baseball. And I think that you could make a very, very significant argument for why that is the case. And I mean, I don't think this is a hot take at all, but I see minimum 1 or 2 MVPs in his future. The fact that he hasn't won one at this point is actually
crazy,
kind of ridiculous. He just keeps running into these other guys having even better seasons than him. But he is always up there. He's always in the voting, always in top 5 MVP. $700 million for one player is probably too much,
right?
When you really think about how you're going to build a baseball team, because you still need, how many other guys, like 25 other dudes to be paying. However, I do truly believe that Juan Soto is just a special talent that you might not ever have a chance at getting again, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, we kind of saw. I feel like everyone is like, I don't know, numb to this because we had it with Shohei Ohtani, but like this is rare, right? To find guys like an Ohtani and like a Juan Soto hitting free agency, this does not happen very frequently. You're not going to get 26-year-olds who are already on a pathway to Hall of Fame or have already hit over 200 home runs in the MLB becoming a free agent at age 26. That just never ever happens. So I think it makes sense why he's 700, but at the same point, fuck, it would be scary to spend that much money.
It definitely would, but, baseball's going in this weird direction where everyone's got, well, I say everyone, not everybody has the money, but a lot of teams have a lot of money, and they're comfortable smashing over this luxury tax. I mean, we've been doing it for the last few years, and we've never done it as a team. I mean, to my knowledge, at least for the Toronto Blue Jays. So, I see a lot of people in the chat. I'm going to throw out this poll right now. Do you or do you not want Juan Soto in the Toronto Blue Jays? So a lot of people are scared of the idea of spending $700 million on a player, but we were totally cool with it, with being Shohei Ohtani. Is it because he was able to pitch as well as hit? Is that the reason why?
Well, maybe. I just think, I don't know. For me, I was always tantalized by the idea of, having the attention that Shohei Ohtani provides, and I don't know if that's something that Juan Soto would bring. I think there would be an element to that, but, Ohtani really does put your entire team on the map, and that was just always something that I thought would be really, really cool and something that they'd be willing to pay $700 million for. Is Rogers Communication Company, is Ross Atkins, is the Toronto Blue Jays willing to pay $700 million for what is just a really, really quality player? I don't know, and I'm going to use the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Situation as an example here because, you have somebody who is a very quality baseball player, not at the level of Juan Soto. We can all agree Juan Soto is a tick above him or a tier above him, but still a very, very quality hitter in Vladimir Guerrero Jr. That's somebody that you had to fight with in arbitration for $1 million. That's somebody who apparently you're not close with right now in contract extensions and who you have not extended. Are they saving up all their money to get Juan Soto instead of extending Vlad? I don't know. Maybe you could speculate on that. But right now, it just feels like they're not willing to pay him, what he is worth. Are they willing to shell out $700 million, effectively a blank check, for Juan Soto?
I mean, again, you could make the argument about the advertisements coming in and all the sales and revenue you get from having Shohei Ohtani, but you could also say not the same thing to that extent, but they were willing to shell out $700 million for Shohei Ohtani. Why couldn't they shell out $700 million for Juan Soto if it was an option for them, right? If they could do it, and this is less average annual value. I mean, $50 million per year, assuming it's a 14-year deal, versus what would be a $70 million per year. So, and in the meantime, it's not going to be costing as much when you can get, you have the extra $20 million to save. You're comparing the two. So, for me, it doesn't. again, I don't think it's going to happen because you're going to have the Yankees, you're going to have the Mets, and you're going to have the LA Dodgers like throwing money around. But if history tells us anything, why can't we throw money around?
Right.
Not saying we're going to get them because history also tells us something that we don't end up getting the guys anyways. But why can't we be throwing money around as well? I think we could.
8 teams called in the first
called.
2 hours of him not being an official New York Yankee. Literally 8 teams were on the phone, and then 3 more teams followed up the following morning. So in the span of 12 hours, he had heard from 11 different baseball teams. Do you think the Toronto Blue Jays are one of those 11 teams?
Absolutely. We got to be one of those 11. If we're not, I'd actually be very disappointed. Not because I think we need Juan Soto Juan Soto would save our team, but not because I think we have to get Juan Soto to, for whatever, to change our history, to change the franchise. But I think we have to be involved in the process. We are a big-time market team. We are. We have to be in on these big market players. So I do think that the Blue Jays are in on that. I think the Mets are in on that. I think the Yankees are in on that. And I think the Dodgers are in on that. What other teams could possibly be on Juan Soto is another good question.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that there's a lot of other big market teams as well. Shout out to Danielle Castro. We can't afford both Soto and Vladdy. No, there wouldn't be no way, right? Like, that would be looking at, assuming Guerrero gets paid like $30 million a year average annual value, he could get even more than that, honestly. But let's just say 30 and Soto's at 50. That would be $80 million on 2 guys, which is not something I think the Toronto Blue Jays would be willing to do. So, yeah, I mean, there's no way that you could get both of them, or at least our team could get both of them. Maybe if you're the Dodgers or the the Yankees or somebody, you could. But, yeah, I mean, the Toronto Blue Jays, even if they're not willing to go up to that $700 million mark, you should be one of those 11 teams just to do your due diligence. Because, again, very rarely does somebody as talented as Juan Soto hit the free agents market. And let me be very clear, everybody. I do love Guerrero, but I also truly believe wholeheartedly that Juan Soto is a special type of talent. I genuinely could.
I do think he's a tier above.
Yeah, and I could see a reality where when this is all said and done, like this guy has one of the most, I guess, prolific MLB careers, at the end of it. Like, this is somebody who I could see, getting over 500, 600 home runs and having a career on base of over 400 when everything is, finished, right? Like, could be up there, in those top 10 type of lists. So, yeah, I mean, you need to do your due diligence and call, and I do think that they did that. I would also assume, though, that you're going to get a couple other American League and AL East teams. The Yankees are obviously going to be one of them, and they'll probably be. They have been talking to him, I imagine. Yes. I don't even know if John Heyman would have included them in that 11 teams that called.
Probably. I mean, they will call him.
I guess. Yeah.
Because the thing is, like, even though he's in the building when they lost the World Series, they're going to call his agency.
Sure.
He's not in the building, right?
Yeah.
So my guesses are this, guys. So I think you got the Blue Jays, you got the Yankees, you got the Mets, and you got the Dodgers for sure. You also got the Philadelphia Phillies. That was another team kind of rumored to be on them. You got the San Francisco Giants. Absolutely, they're the one team that's also going to be on them.
Boston would call, too.
Boston would call. Do you think Houston would call? They have a weird history of not, like, going out and shelling out that kind of money.
I don't think Houston, they're a competent franchise, so they'd probably call just because they're competent. Are they willing to actually do it? I don't think so, because they're in a similar situation that we are, where it's like, well, you got Kyle Tucker coming off the books in a year.
Yeah.
And that is kind of going to be your guy that you're going to invest a ton of money in.
Right.
I guess you could make the argument that they sign Juan Soto and then let Tucker walk a year from now.
Right.
Be like, okay, like, we're going to go all in for this season and, see if we can win it. Maybe that would make sense, but I mean, Houston being competent probably called. I don't know if they're actually going to pull the trigger. Shout out here to Absolute Dan, who was a member for 2 months. Juan Soto is a bit risky in my opinion because if he doesn't like it in Toronto, he will leave no question. It's either him or extend Vlad right now. Well, here's the thing, man. If he signs for $700 million, he gonna like it in Toronto.
Yeah,
I don't give a
dude.
Listen, even if he hates it, he's gonna pretend.
That's the thing. Is like we all heard the speculation, and I think it's pretty clear now that he just wants money, guys. Like he just wants the money. He has no loyalty to a franchise. It's just the cash. So like whoever gives him the cash, he'll be happy to play with. And hell, you can be buddies with Vlad for a year. We'll see what happens after that.
Also, too, like think about it this way. You could be a bad team right now. But for Juan Soto, like, you're going to be there for, 14 years, right? Like, again, like, I don't think he would want to go there, but the Pittsburgh Pirates, could you sell him on how, in 2 to 3 years from now, you're going to be, like, fucking all the way back? maybe you could. I don't know. Like, if you could make an argument and be like, all right, like, here's your 700, and this is our game plan. Because I do think that they're, even though it is just about the money, I mean, I don't think he would take 701 from Colorado compared to the 700 from the Yankees. You know what I mean? Like, I think he would go to the Yankees here. I think there is an element of, well, you got to be somewhat competent. And, the fact that you have him for 14 years allows you to kind of lay out your decade-long plan of how we're going to win everything with you. So.
No, I hear what you're saying. I want to go back into that conversation of, like, seeing who other teams would be involved. So I also thought, you said Boston, right? Boston could definitely be involved.
Yeah, Boston for sure.
Would you think that potentially San Diego would want to get him back? Or does that feel weird?
No, I don't think they would, man. I mean, they were even coming out and talking about how they thought that they were a better team without him.
Yeah.
Right? That was a real thing that they were saying, and they have a bunch of superstars there already that they're paying tons of money. Yeah. And you know what? Realistically, right, like, they traded him away. They would have had time to extend it there. I feel like the second you trade him away, you decide, okay, we're going to be out on this. Some team that I think could be a little bit of a dark horse here. I don't know how real they would be in on this, but I think Kansas City's got a decent amount of money that they could go off with. They got Bobby Witt Jr. locked up for a long, long period of time. They were decent enough this year. If they're really feeling gutsy, I could see them making a call. I don't know if they're going to cross the finish line, but yeah.
Potentially for sure. I think Cubs, too, that's always a name that gets tossed out for big market players. And I remember hearing a lot about Cubs really wanting Soto last offseason, too, and wanting Ohtani as well. So that, for me, feels like another team that could definitely do it. So, I mean, you're looking at it right here, guys. A lot of the big-name players, guys who won't be, of course, are everyone in the bottom of payrolls right here.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
Detroit, that would be cute, if Detroit could somehow land it once. I don't know if they have the money for it, though, but that'd be very cute. Baltimore is an interesting one. Again, they don't have a track record of going out and getting guys, and it's not like, that their offense is supposed to be their strength. They really need to go and get pitching, but obviously Juan Soto will definitely help. But everybody else, though, I can't really see it happening. LA would be a joke, dude. Don't do that.
No, he wouldn't do that.
He would never do that.
No. I mean, that's the thing. Again, of course there is an element of money, and I know he came out and he said, all 30 teams are available.
Realistically, it's half.
Yeah,
it's 11. It's 11.
Yeah, okay. You come out and you say that, but I know that you're a competitive guy, and I know, Juan Soto, as much as you probably love the city of LA, are you really willing to do the Mike Trout experiment again? Probably not.
And LA is just such a weird, you already have Rendon, you've got Trout, you want to add another, and this would be $700 million.
They probably couldn't even afford him, actually, dude, with all those contracts.
No, LA is, dude, the thing is, bringing in Juan Soto won't save them. We know that for a fact.
No, it won't, yeah.
We've seen it happen, guys, with Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. And Albert Pujols at one point. You are not going anywhere.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's just a cancer in that organization, and realistically, you could have I truly believe this. They could have the exact same roster that the LA Dodgers just had, and they'd find a way to not make playoffs.
Oh, for sure.
Seriously, there's the way that they operate over there. It's all wrong. It's all bad.
Yeah. Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. So. I mean, that's the Juan Soto stuff right now. I don't know if you want to make any more kind of mentions before we move on about Juan Soto.
Well, I'm very excited to watch it happen. The fact that it's already started just goes to show there's a solid 10 teams out there that this is a serious pathway for them, and they want to make it happen, and that this is going to be an ongoing conversation for probably right up until the winter meetings or whenever he does decide to sign. I'm curious to see how quickly these conversations heat up and develop and everything like that.
And I guess just for all of our Toronto Blue Jay fans here, I know there's people all over the spectrum of we really don't want him here, it's never going to happen, da-da-da-da. And there's people who are do anything that you can to get Juan Soto. I'm trying to always play this kind of middle-ish ground to kind of be realistic for everybody's expectations. For me, my expectation on Juan Soto is we're going to be in, we're going to try to negotiate as much as we can, we're going to drive up the price. We'll probably have our own limit. I can see a reality where Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro's plan A involves Juan Soto and this budget. If we get him, then we're going to do X, Y, and Z afterwards. And we have about $650 to commit to him or some sort of number like that. And then anything after that, we're out, right? I could see us being in that reality Absolutely. That actually feels like a realistic reality, and that's not me trying to dream or anything like that. That we've seen it in the past. So that's my expectation. We're going to drive up the price. It's probably going to be going on all November, if not into December, and we'll see. We're going to be around it for a long time.
We'll finish like 4th.
I literally think we will finish 4th behind Dodgers. Okay, I can see us finishing 3rd, though, actually, behind the 2 New York teams.
Right.
Because, like, Dodgers are like, well, we did our whole Ohtani thing. We're out. We have a limit.
Yeah, but they just won the World Series.
They just won the World Series. No, I hear you. But, like, they could be like, okay, let's peace out of here. But Toronto's were desperate, and we were desperate last offseason, so I could see that continuing into this offseason.
Yeah, it's going to be a really tight race to watch, guys. I'm also very interested to see where the final number does end up. Like, I don't... If he can eclipse the Ohtani contract, like
that's nuts.
Yeah, and you know that he's the type of guy that wants to do that, like just because he could then own that, and be like, I am, and you're probably gonna own that. Let's face it, for like, a decade or more, because like I don't see like when is the next? It would need to be like somebody like him that comes up that we haven't even seen yet, and is like gonna be so good as a rookie.
Yeah, in the next 6 years, no one will break that contract because I don't see a rookie that can do it.
Like maybe if Paul Skeens... No, not even then, because it's like pitchers are weird. Like Jackson Merrill, if he goes insane mode, I don't
know. Paul Skeens, if he's healthy and pitches what he does, that's at least 500, 600. Oh, and also inflation might happen then. Yeah. And other pitchers are getting signed, so... Actually, that's not a bad shout. I
personally don't see a pitcher getting $700 million. He would get a lot. Anyways, this is a ridiculous conversation. Yeah. Let's move on, everybody, and talk a little bit about some potential trade targets around baseball this offseason, folks. Obviously, you got a lot of different free agents, but there's a lot of guys that could be on the board, one of which, of course, is Bo Bichette. I mean, you have so many different opinions on what's going to happen with Bo. Very recently, they're saying that it's unlikely, or at least this person is suggesting that it's unlikely. However, I want to be very clear right now, a week from now, you're going to get another article.
Likely.
And exactly, you're going to get another insider saying, oh, it's heating up. And then a week after that, it's going to be like, oh, it's cooling off, it's slowing down. Yeah. This really does feel like all speculation. I genuinely think that the Bo Bichette trade at this point, flip a fucking coin. Like, literally, flip a coin. It could go either way. I think it truly depends on how other teams are going to value him. The door's going to be open. Are they going to pounce?
I am agreeing with the unlikely, though. I've been kind of there all kind of October. I've been thinking about it, like going over the both sides of trading him or not keeping him. Like what would the Blue Jays play out here? And I'm kind of on board with this unlikely thing because again, where they're grabbing this from is literally MLB trade rumors, which we're about to look at for some other free agents. They named 35 of their top free agents that could be traded this offseason. He was number 35.
Makes sense.
And what they say here is the Jays have signaled that they want to retool and try to compete again in 2025. Bichette would logically be a big part of that, assuming he can rebound from an injury-shortened season and an uncharacteristically feeble year at the plate, right? So, yeah, like, for me, it would be a big part of the Blue Jays bouncing back because I still think, baseball's a weird game, and it was a very uncharacteristic year, like they're saying right here, for Bo Bichette. And I do think that one season, one off season can kind of get him back healthy, get him back on the right track. Like, you don't just forget how you were a great ball player many years ago. I think there's a reality when he's turning 27, he can still be a young guy, can still hit for a high average, can still be the Bo Bichette that we all know, making great contact. And part of the Blue Jays' way to going back isn't reducing the amount of star players you have on your team, it's keeping star players on your team. So if Ross Atkins and Mark Sproul really are serious about competing, like, yes, there is a reality, we've talked about this before, where you can't compete without a Bo Bichette, but that's a lot more brain work. Like, you have the guy on your team right now. So, and to also add to that, the only way you trade him is if you get the offer that's worth it. And right now, it ain't worth it for a lot of teams for a guy on 1 year who just proved he was injured and can hit. So, the price is going to be a lot less than what you would have got.
That's where it is for me, man. Like, I really do think that this is one of those things that they would be open to if the price is right. And it comes down to me, other teams having to value him a bit higher. Maybe it's going to depend on how the shortstop market develops, right? If Willy Adames flies off the board immediately and you end up with a bunch of these teams that are like, oh shit, like we don't know what to do right now at the shortstop position. If that can heat up a little bit, then maybe they'd be willing to pay up a little bit more for Bo Bichette. I don't think that the Blue Jays are going to be like, pressed to make this happen.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that he'll be available and people will call, and if they're gonna give them a good enough offer, then I think they'd be willing to part ways with them. Whereas like with somebody like a Guerrero, it would be such a mammoth type of trade that I can truly say it won't happen, right? Because it would just be so crazy. But Bo Bichette, I think that they're certainly more willing to move, in my opinion, anyways, than other guys on this team.
No, I hear you. So like that's obviously been the story with Bo Bichette this offseason, and again, this won't be the last time, like Nick said, that we're gonna hear this, and probably the conversation is gonna change.
That's the thing; it's gonna be like flowing as the offseason progresses.
But you never know. Bo Bichette could literally be traded tonight. So like, I'm not saying he will be, but that is the possibility.
It's open
trades are open now.
It is open.
Trades are open.
Well, we saw a couple like Atlanta made a move, and then there was another team that made a move right after that.
Yeah,
I forget at this point.
It was a smaller move, but the big one was the Angels and the Braves. Angels sent over Griffin Canning for Jorge Soler.
Yeah.
Again, like, what are we doing? I don't understand what our vision is here. At least Atlanta's like, well, shit, we need pitching depth.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of Jorge Soler, who's aging, and get Griffin Canning. That makes sense. What are we doing? Angels?
I couldn't tell you. They need another aging veteran that gets paid probably too much money. And,
that's great.
Is regressing. So that's where LA Angels are at right now, and that's where this is at in terms of the Bo Bichette potential trade rumors. But there was a couple other guys that you wanted to highlight on here that could be interesting for I guess not even just the Toronto Blue Jays, but just like any baseball team in general, right?
Yeah, I think I did pick these based off Toronto Blue Jays needs because you'll see a common theme here. Blue Jays have been looking for a lockdown third baseman, and they also been looking for some relief pitching as well. And one of the big things is we have a ton of guys in our farm system and also on the 40-man roster right now that are young and play middle infield. And we only have 2 middle infield spots, guys. We can't have everybody coming up to the big league level and getting playing time. So why not trade a few of those guys and get some much needed bullpen help? One guy that we've seen play on the Tampa Bay Rays for many years now is Pete Fairbanks. He's number 7 on this list of guys who could potentially get traded.
Yeah.
He's guaranteed $4.6 million to 2025. And then there's a club option for $7 million in 2026 with a $1 million buyout. Now, I think that's pretty good because you get this year and then the potential option if you are in the tank and you're not signing back all your guys and the window's closing, just cut the payroll, take the $1 million buyout, and cut Pete Fairbanks and start all over again. But Pete Fairbanks had a bit of a shaky year last year. I'll bring his stats up here. Had a bit of a shaky year last year, but still finished with a solid 3.57 ERA, whip of 1.1 with 23 saves. He's had histories of high leverage relieving in the past. I mean, he's not too far removed from an excellent 2022 and a very good 2023. So for me, a guy, 31 years old, veteran, pitched in the Rays system. Again, that does scare me a little bit because what if he comes over to the Blue Jays and we start changing him and not doing Rays stuff? But I would still take this as a good option for a trade.
Well, I mean, a mid-3 ERA, like that guy's fucking closing for us on our team.
Literally, right?
With the bullpen that we have, right? Like we just need arms that can, I guess in a best case scenario, be serviceable. And there's a lot of guys on the roster right now that their best case scenario is not serviceable. Like it's not good, So like you would not see a lot of these Toronto Blue Jays pitchers on a World Series caliber team. In fact, I can prove it to you because Tim Meza only ever saw the field when they were down horrendously.
They were up by, I think was it in game 3? No, game 4 when they won, right?
They were up by like a shit.
They were up by 11-4.
Yeah, like it was like, okay, we now feel comfortable enough, to throw out this guy. But in any other situation, we need at least 6 or 7 runs cushion to feel confident putting Tim Meza on the bump. And that was the one Toronto Blue Jay bullpen guy that actually did see the field. So just goes to show you that, currently the Blue Jays bullpen roster needs a lot. Fairbanks would make sense to me. I do agree with you, though, that like the Rays and the way that they operate things, sometimes it doesn't always translate to other baseball teams. So, I mean, that could be cause for concern. But again, like, we're not in a position to be super choosy right now.
No, and I like it, right? Add some guys with experience, and he's definitely one of them, and on a pretty good deal too. Like $4.6 million is very nice.
Also, before we continue, I do just want to quickly give a shout out to the chat right now. Everybody in here, if you haven't already done so, hit that like, smash the subscribe button. I see people in there talking about Teoscar Hernandez right now, and I do want to make it very clear because we got people in here saying he 100% wants to be a Dodger. That is confirmed, everybody. In fact, I can pull up the quotation. It's on our Instagram right now. If you're not already following us on Instagram, then please go do so.
Links in the description, guys. If you want to follow us on our social media, Twitter or X, Instagram, TikTok, all that.
Following the game, where they won, obviously, Teoscar Hernandez came out, and this is word for word. This is what he said. The Dodgers will be my priority in free agency. I will do whatever is possible to return. It's not in my hands, but if I were, I'd pick them.
There you go.
That is as clear as you can make it.
I mean, I'll pull this straight from the comment section. Like, oh no, a player wanting to go to a competent franchise.
Yeah,
blasphemous stuff right here. This is earth shattering. You know. So yeah, Teoscar Hernandez would have to not get an offer from the Dodgers.
That's exactly right. Yeah, or
right?
it would need to be such
offer.
a criminally underrated offer that it's like, oh, okay, well, I can't possibly sign for $2 million, which I don't think they would do that to him. Like, they respect what he did to that organization.
They got money.
Realistically, like, the only way that I don't see him going back and being with LA next year is they get Juan Soto. And then it's like, okay, well,
why would we need Teo?
Sorry, like, we got this guy now, and he is, tiers above you type thing.
No, I hear you.
But no, like, we're probably not going to get Teoscar Hernandez because that team clearly is going to be number one on his pecking order.
It clearly clears the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, pretty much.
Moving on to, I have a couple other picks here, guys, that we could potentially be trading for. That is highlighted here on the MLB trade rumors. You got David Bednar. That's a fun name that keeps coming up in Toronto Blue Jay land. How many times have we talked about David Bednar being a trade target?
Too many times.
Way too many times. But it's starting to get to the end of his contract. That's the whole reason why they didn't trade him early on. Because, like, wow, you got this guy for so many years. He's like Andrew Miller on the A's right now, where it's like, okay, this guy's so young and so good. Let's not trade him away. Let's keep him a little bit. But now David Bednar, he's arbitration eligible through 2026. So it's 2 years left of David Bednar on a team that, maybe they do want to start thinking about flipping over some guys and helping out that lineup a little bit, which, hey, we've got a lot of middle infielders, so maybe we want to send them over to the Blue Jays. We know about David Bednar, very solid guy. He pitched a combined between 2021 and 2023, 179 innings and 2/3 with 2.25 ERA ball. Okay, and fanned more than 31% of his opponents. So yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, yeah, he had a bit of a terrible year last year with the ERA really high and the plummeting strikeout rate. However, this is a good time to buy low, okay? If you want to buy low, then you can go bring him in. And Bednar, again, could be an option where if Jordan Romano isn't going to be a guy that we want to bring back, or maybe he doesn't have that closing stuff, if we do bring him back, maybe this guy could step in for us.
Yeah, I'm going to be really interested to see what happens with the Jordan Romano and everything like that. Like, Shai Davidi actually recently said, closer Jordan Romano is projected to make $7.75 million in arbitration, but if his status after elbow surgery is too uncertain, he could be non-tendered to create additional spending room. And that he just said that a couple days ago. Yesterday, excuse me. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the Toronto Blue Jays decide to do with Jordan Romano. Like a healthy Jordan Romano, I think that we can all agree would be worth $7.5 million for sure. Easy. Like, take that money and close 30 games for us, as you always do. But if that injury truly is like at a point where it's like, could this linger into it? Could we? Is there a chance that we could see him getting re-injured? Then maybe you do want to take that money and reinvest and put it towards either a David Bednar type of contract if you trade for him or somebody in free agency.
We gotta see what's going on with Romano, man. Like we gotta be like keeping a close eye on him. If I'm the Toronto Blue Jays training staff, like that's my first priority right now because the arbitration, or I guess the deadline for when you got to offer your pre-arb and arb guys their contracts is November 22nd. So for me, like, right now is the time to be like, are we going to do it or are we not going to do it?
Here's the thing, man. Like, know. I'm kind of, I guess, I don't know if shocked is the right term, but, like, I'm surprised, I guess, that we haven't heard anything from the team or from Jordan about his status. You know, like, this has been an ongoing conversation right now for a couple months about, like, if they're going to bring him back or not. Why are we not hearing about this? Why haven't I seen a video of Jordan Romano throwing, on a social media or something like that and looking really good, right? Like, if it's actually not an issue, then shut it down, right? Like, if you're Jordan Romano, like, shut, because from him, I would imagine he wants the money, right? So if you're fully healthy and I'm Jordan Romano right now, I'm going, hey, everyone, I am 100% good to go. But we haven't seen that at all. So I don't know. Maybe he's just a super, nonchalant guy, just wants to keep the cards close to his chest. But there's been a lot of speculation about this and not a whole lot of information shared.
Well, I think the most important information that's got to be shared is got to go right to the Blue Jays front office. I mean, like as much as I'd want to know about it, like that'd be great. But like, what? Like, are the Blue Jays right there with him? That's all I really care about is like, are they monitoring his status? And we haven't heard about that, so we don't know if they have or haven't been. Because that's what's important. You have 3 weeks now to determine the fate of Jordan Romano for the Toronto Blue Jays. Like, he could be the closer of their future, or he could be gone forever. Like, the guy who had the big outros, or the intros coming in with the lights and the flashingness, and, being the Canadian hero, being the closer for the last 4 years, that could all just be gone this offseason. And that's like, for a lot of just baseball fans who aren't this close to the news, might be like, where the hell did Jordan Romano go? I just looked at your screen right there, and the most asked questions about Jordan Romano is, where is he?
Yeah.
Will he be back? What's going on?
Yeah.
Nobody knows. So we got to, this is like a kind of, it might not seem like a lot of a big deal, but it means a lot to the fans.
Well, and it's going to have a big domino effect, too, again, about how they approach free agency.
Right.
Because that's just going to be another thing that it's like, oh, shit, like, we need somebody to close baseball games for us, right? Like, I'm not comfortable with what we did this past year. I don't think a lot of you guys are comfortable either. That's just another one of those pieces in the bullpen that needs to be addressed.
Right.
I think the point that I was getting at right there is the fact that, some of these Blue Jays insiders are continuing to bring this up. One of those situations where it does feel like, well, where there's smoke, there's fire, and I mean, Chai Davidi is really good at what he does. I don't think he'd say that if there wasn't, an actual serious concern that this could happen.
Yeah, no, I hear. So that's what's going on with Jordan Romano, guys. That's something that, again, a long list of storylines that we got to follow this offseason. We will have answers very soon. And the last option on this MLB trade rumors document we've been looking at is a third base option. I personally, guys, I don't really want it, this kind of trade, because it's Brett Beatty from the New York Mets. Mark Vientos is taking over there in New York. He's a superstar. He's the third baseman there. This is the guy that they had coming up. There was a former first-round pick, 12th overall, and this was supposed to be the future of the Mets. The last 3 seasons has been dog crap. I mean, Brett Beatty has a career 607 OPS and 544 at-bats. It hasn't worked. Whatever he's done over there hasn't worked, but he's still 24 years old. Again, still has that prospect pedigree. Maybe there's an opportunity where they dump him. And I think they might be looking to dump him this offseason because clearly Mark Vientos is a guy. You want to have somebody like the Jays go like, ooh, like, is there anything there, and trade for him. However, you got to look at our side of things and go, well, we already have a lot of these infielder guys. Yeah, you have Aurelio Martinez that could come up and play third base soon, but why not add another, pitchfork to the fire, whatever you want to say, for sort of analogy there. Want to add another guy that maybe, hey, if you wanted to break out and be what you're supposed to be, do it. I wonder how much you'd cost. That's a big thing.
I look at this guy the same way that I guess I would look at a Nate Pearson,
Right.
Kind of looks like somebody who is
a busted first round.
like a top round prospect who everybody was excited about, and then he comes up and doesn't do what he's supposed to do, and it's just not looking good, and kind of on and off type thing. And somebody will throw a dart for sure.
Someone's
but
gonna.
What did we get for Nate Pearson? I don't even remember at this point. Like it wasn't a lot.
It wasn't a lot.
Yeah, it was very minimal.
Yeah, like a middle tier prospect.
Yeah, like it wasn't a whole lot. Probably the same thing for this guy.
It probably maybe a little bit more because he might have a little bit more time on his contract, and it is like a pretty big position of third base, and so like, and whereas like Nate Pearson is just a reliever at this point, so like probably a bit more, probably like a top, like a 10th prospect or a 10th ranked prospect or some shit like that.
Right.
Again, if you wanted to toss it out there, it would be. But again, like this is the least priority for me on this list.
No, I mean, look, if you're gonna go out and you're gonna get a third baseman, like make it somebody that's locked down, right?
Yeah,
that we know that we're gonna get here, right? I think about an Alex Bregman. Do I want to pay him a shitload of money? Not really, but I mean, if you do, at the very least, like what you're gonna get there for a couple years, Whereas somebody like this, it just kind of feels like the same thing that we already have, which is, a bunch of dudes who could have potential, but, could also not, and we got to wait and see, right? So if you're going to go out and you're going to get a third baseman, make it somebody who is, boom, what you're going to get.
Real quick, I actually want to bring this up because I've been seeing this in the chat. Ton2 is just all over the chat saying, rebuilding is what we need. And it's something that we actually haven't talked about because I don't think that is in the picture of the front office. Like, that's not what they're envisioning for this team next year. Is rebuilding the right thing for this team to do to try to win a championship, let's say, in the next 6 or 7 years?
Yeah, I do think so. Like, for a long time prior to the trade deadline, that was where I was at and what I wanted them to do, and they decided not to do it. And I think it's got a lot to do with the way that this team is run, this organization is run. I think that by rebuilding and really committing to the rebuild, Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro are, maybe not Mark Shapiro, but maybe also Mark Shapiro, kind of throwing the hat in and effectively quitting and probably getting fired too.
That's
because if you're gonna rebuild, then that means that this window didn't work. This whole Guerrero thing and Bo Bichette, this era didn't work. And now we're going to need somebody else to come in who has a better and brighter idea than you guys, because clearly what you're doing is not the answer. So I do think that what they're doing and trying to be competitive in 2025, I don't think it's the right call. I think that they're buying themselves another year, and I think that they're just kind of praying to God that it hits. They get lucky, and they hit that long shot parlay, because that would save them their job. But ultimately, I find it hard to believe that they're going to be successful the following season.
Right.
And we're probably just going to be 1 year delayed from doing the rebuild that we should have done this year.
Yeah, like right now the strategy is when you're coming to the end of your window, we kind of saw it back in 2015, 2016, is to go all in, spend a lot of money, and then sell it all away once you did that shot. We kind of did that in the last couple of years. We spent a lot of money on a lot of free agents. We traded for the Jose Barrios, traded for the guys at the deadline, some of them better than others. And it feels like you maybe got one more year of that if you really want to commit to this window, and then it's over, right? Because then we have all the guys coming up on contracts and people are aging a little bit, like some of these veteran guys like Springer and Gosman, right? So for me, like, I do see where they're going, and I really do want to believe. Like, I'm convinced myself that if they went and spent all the money and they made one more last all-in push, sure, would that delay a rebuild even further? Yeah, it would. But it's either now or you're going to have to wait another 5 years and kind of restart the window all over again. And I don't think they're going to do that. So we might as well start believing that this is what they got to do now.
Here's the thing, too. The longer that we've been in the off season, the more I'm kind of like, okay, well, maybe we can do it. Maybe we can get competitive, right? Because you start to think about the names on the paper, right? And you go, okay, well, Guerrero's great, and well, Bo Bichette, like I know he can be good, and well, you think about that pitching staff, like you got Gosman, you still got Bassett, and you got Jose Barrios, and sure, that's all there, but don't forget how they played baseball. Watching them, like seriously, watching them on the screen, it's like, we can get in kind of our rose-colored glasses, like looking at these guys and believing, but I always come back to like what the actual product on the field was last year, and it was bad.
I think like those guys were good, other than Bo Bichette. Those guys were good, no doubt about it. But the surrounding cast of characters is just not there. Like there's no support. Like, at all. Like, if you had that core and then you went and added to the supporting cast characters and it worked, great. Because in the past, like, we added supporting cast of characters and we got to the playoffs. It just did not work in the playoffs, though. We could not win. So, I think there is a reality where you could add, and it would cost a lot, a good supporting cast and go back to playoffs and roll the dice again, because you never know. But it's going to take a lot for them to do this offseason. It's going to take a lot. Real quick shout out, guys, because we wanted to start promoting this a little bit more. Right here, you got a hat. Right here, you got a hat. I'm wearing a shirt right now. Blue Jays Today merchandise, guys, in the description, nationgear.ca. We're going to be coming out with a lot more merchandise this offseason. We're going to have some timely stuff. If Vladdy signs, you best know we're going to have a Blue Jays Today Vladdy, $350 million man merchandise.
He's going to have a money bag in his hand with the contract details. Something like that.
That'd be dope. That'd be dope, man. Guys, so yeah, hit it up in the description, guys, if you want to go get some Blue Jays Today merchandise. Personally, that hat's my favorite right there. So go check it out, guys, nationgear.ca. There's a couple other moves before we end off this video that kind of happened. Again, speaking of third base options, this guy, Yohan Moncada. Remember, he used to be kind of good like a few years ago, and then disappeared and got injured.
Similarly to Brett Baty, he was a top prospect.
Yeah,
like a top
and he was
prospect, and people were like, "Oh, we really think this guy's going to pan out," because he was involved in the Chris Sale trade,
right?
Like back in the day, and they spent a lot. Boston spent a lot to get Chris Sale, and Moncada was like the big piece. Like I think he was like, right up there in the MLB's top prospects and everything like that. And he did have one very solid season.
Oh, yeah.
Back in 2019, I believe it was. It was like, oh shit, like this is it.
Good.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Like we're fine. We're seeing it, and then it never really hit that level again, and just kind of was a middling to average type of player. The remainder, he is no more with the Chicago White. Yeah, literally 99 OPS.
Literally an average player.
As average as you can get. Now, one thing I will say about Moncada is he was on the White Sox. And they're pretty bad over there.
They were bad. So maybe there's a little bit of factor of that involved in there. So.
Yeah, like you talk about a cancer in an organization, like it's terminal. It's terminal over there. It's not good. So, I mean, that could definitely be a factor, and maybe you could squeeze something out of it. He's now available because the White Sox did not want to pay his money anymore. Whether that is the right decision or wrong decision, I don't know.
I mean, they're just getting rid of anything they can. They're scrapping it all down.
Get everything gone. No money. We don't want to spend anything. Maybe make it more appealing to somebody to buy the team if you don't have to pay a bunch for it.
Yeah.
Type thing. I don't know. Maybe
Exactly. I hear you.
But interesting right there. Could be an option for Toronto, but likely, I don't know.
Again, it's one of those weird options where if they sign up, it'd be like, oh, it feels like another Band-Aid solution.
Yeah.
It's like not the big hitter that we really need because we probably could find that somewhere, in our own system.
Sure,
maybe,
exactly, right. And how much better is Yohan Moncada than
Ernie Clement?
Ernie Clement or Horwitz or something like that.
Yeah.
Probably not. Probably not that much. Maybe I'm selling him short, but
maybe.
I don't know. The last 4 years hasn't been that great. And then, another note right there, Randall Grichuk, our old friend. Shout out to him, man, for hopefully getting a bag this offseason. He actually had a really solid year.
He did.
With the Diamondbacks. Granted, he did only have 254 at-bats, but quality at-bats, man. 291 batting average, an OPS of 875. Like, that is very, very solid from Randall Grichuk. You guys know that when he was on the Toronto Blue Jays, I was not his biggest supporter.
No, you did not like him.
And it had nothing to do with Randall Grichuk. It was just the fact that we paid him a ridiculous amount of money at the time for what the production was that he gave us, which was very minimal, especially in those last couple of years. But that's an old friend, and knowing the Toronto Blue Jays and the way that we operate could be a target for us.
Look, if this guy did what he did with the Toronto Blue Jays batting 751, I'm laughing. There was a moment last year when I was watching Randall Grichuk, I'm like, dude, what I would do to have a Randall Grichuk in this lineup again, because at the time he was batting 7th, 8th for us, like bottom part of the order, but 751 in his career with Toronto. And then he goes over to Arizona and obviously puts up amazing years, 875. Is that going to continue at age 33? We don't know. But hey, corner outfielder, we know it can have some power. Maybe you go bring him back. He turned down $6 million, mutual option. So it says that he probably wants to get another bag if he can.
He'll probably get more than 6 doing what he did there, But I don't I could see a 2-year deal type thing.
2-year, maybe he extends the deal, right? Maybe it's 2-year, 9 a year or some shit.
Something like that. That would be kind of reasonable for a guy like that. Would I be interested in it? Not really. I don't think that solves a whole lot. But
no,
that's where we are at right now, folks. Let's give a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video.
That's right, Nick.
Welcome to the park with Betway. Scan the QR code down below to join the action. Only available in Ontario. Must be 19 years of older to participate. Please play responsibly. Now, everyone, back to the content.
Guys, shout out to Betway, folks. Scan the QR code right there. Sign up. It would help us out tremendously, everybody, if you just took a moment and did that. If you're enjoying the content, truly, it really does help the channel. And Betway is such a great sponsor for us, so we'd really appreciate it if you scan that QR code. We got a bet here for you. Just the lines here for the Raptors and the Lakers tonight. Now, since there's no baseball, we got to transition. Probably
Toronto sports, baby.
Toronto sports. Maybe I'll even toss in a Green Bay Packers bet or two.
Yeah.
Before the NFL season's all said and done. But yeah, Lakers really good team. Raptors probably going to get cooked, and the odds reflect that. But if you're feeling risky, maybe sprinkle a couple bucks on Toronto.
Yeah. The money line straight up for Raptors, if you really think they're going to win, is or not money. Yeah, the money line is 4.5 multiplier. So if you put $10 in there, you'll get $45. So shout out to Betway, guys, one more time. Go check them out. You can make all your NFL, baseball, basketball, and hockey bets right there.
Yeah, 100%. What do we want to finish off with today?
I think the last thing we got is just checking in on Alec Monoa. There's some people talking about it, and this is like kind of older news, guys. But Alec Monoa basically is ramping up again to try and be in the rotation, right? And he's been working out. He's got the cast off that came a couple months ago, and he's just trying to get recovered from his UCL surgery. But what can we realistically expect from Alec Monoa? Like, where your kind of mind right now on what can we expect?
I'll be honest, I haven't even really thought about Alec Monoa in a long period of time.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, it's just like Alec Monoa is not somebody that I am prepared to let myself believe in. If he decides to come out and be good, then great.
Awesome.
That's going to be the best thing ever, and I'm going to be in his camp, and I'm going to be supporting him and everything like that. I think we're far enough removed now from that whole situation that he had, a year or so ago, where it's like he didn't really want to play or didn't want to be with the team or whatnot. We're past that now. Now we're on to new things, new better things. So I really hope for his sake that he does get healthy. In the limited time that we saw him last year, there were ups, there were downs. You can't really pull too much away from it because the sample size was so short. So I really hope that for his sake, he's putting in the work because this is probably his last chance.
Until his contract's over, I guess. But yeah.
Well, it all depends what he does, right? Like if he comes up and stinks it up, like how much more of Alec Monoa are we going to see in the MLB? I don't know.
But ideally for me, do I have faith in Alec Monoa? Maybe maybe I have a tablespoon. I have a tablespoon of faith because we have seen in the past, and I do like what we saw for that little sample size when he was healthy and he was up. He was pitching pretty decent. Like in a perfect world, our rotation goes. You got the big three-headed guys of Jose Barrios, Kevin Gausman, Chris Bassett, and then you go down to Francis. We know how much he's earned a spot in this rotation, and then you go Alec Monoa because Yago Rodriguez look really shaky. And for me, at least for right now, I could be proven wrong. I could be eating my words in about a year from now. But he looks like a great long relief guy. We saw him do that this year in great capacities. Alec Monoa is at his best, a really great pitcher, but it's been 2 years removed from that. So we got to see how he all develops, and we got to wait till spring training, because if he comes out in spring training and there's an injury, or he's just blowing the door out and he's just doing phenomenal stuff, then he will earn a spot. But I'm not going to, I'm not going to hope for it. I'm not going to hold my breath.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, I think having any expectation for Manoah is just like selling yourself short, and realistically, the team should be planning around not having him, and then if they do have him, even
great
better.
Surprise.
Folks, if you haven't already done so, please hit that like, smash the subscribe button, and let us know your thoughts about anything that we talked about today in the comments down below. Before we go, a quick shout out here to the fact that we are going to be storing and opening up kind of a mailbag type of thing, folks. So tomorrow you'll probably see something on our community page or something like that, just detailing exactly how you submit to something like that. But we see so many people in the chat with questions and whatnot. We want to be able to get to them, and we just feel like the best and most organized way to do that is if you were to submit them through some sort of Google Doc or whatnot in a mailbag, and then every section or segment in our Blue Jays Today show, we'll address them.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about, and we see your questions. Like Nick's saying, we want to get you guys involved, and as well, if you are a YouTube member, you can submit an audio question. Okay, so if you want to we play your voice, play your question, your audio question. We're gonna have that as well here on Blue Jays Today, so that we can get you guys more involved into the community.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching, everybody, and as always,
go Jays, go!